here and immediately you're making an impact defensively. Just take us through that. You come in here, Dick Vermeil's the coach, prolific offense, but you come in here and immediately shine, man, and you become part of the city so quickly. Just take us back to that, the beginning of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, I got blessed with throughout my entire football career since I was little. I've had phenomenal coaches and teammates and staff. So I think, then just coming from a small school, obviously going in the fourth round, I was already had a chip on my shoulder about that, just because everybody naysayer says you can't do something because you come from a smaller school. And I just knew when I came in I wanted to start. I've always been very self-motivated. Like I said, I had great coaches. Great teachers. I mean, when you come into a locker room, I think now it's crazy to look back at that team. There's 1, 2, 3. I think there's 3 or 4 Hall of Famers on that team. Will Shields, Willie Rofe, Tony. I think that's 3 right there.
Yeah.
It's been that was absolutely insane. And so when you have that kind of tutelage, it's hard not to have a successful career. And then you have a coaching staff like Dick Vermeil, who's a Hall of Famer in his own right, that push you and drive you. And honestly, one of the earliest coaches I had, Bob Kramelowitz, God rest his soul, was a phenomenal, D-line coach. But Frank Gantz Jr., our special teams coach, is the one that used to get on me about being in meetings early and being out on the practice field early. And, Tony was always out 15, 20 minutes early catching balls. And so, when you got a guy like Tony Gonzalez setting an example and, who's the best, or was arguably the best all time, doing things the right way, you can't help. And being the type of guy that I am, I always want to be the best at whatever I do. You can't help but follow that lead and succeed. And then the city was just my type of city, I grew up in California. I grew up on a horse ranch, but most of my entire career was spent in the Midwest, So having those experiences in Kansas City, man, it just drove me. It led me to be able to keep improving, keep grinding. And like I said, the city was an easy place to fall in love with.
Well, Jared, we recently lost the great Gunther Cunningham. What role did he have with you coming in with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh, huge too. I mean, the Gun, I love Gun. Gun was an honorary SOB, but I did love him. Again, he's just a guy that pushes you. He pushes you for greatness. I appreciate people that don't settle for mediocrity, Gun was eccentric in his ways and full of crap most of the time. But I love that man, and I would have run through a brick wall for him because that's who he was, and he stayed true to who he was, and right, telling you you're no good because he wanted to push you to be better, comparing you to other guys, but still complimenting you in the same way. It was a unique coaching style that I really did like and respected, and he found a way to get the best out of his players. And again, I enjoyed that fire. I enjoyed the way he pushed me to be great, and always basically I was always second fiddle to Derek Thomas. Who isn't? But that drove me to constantly to be better than Derek Thomas and to chase down his records and try to have those averages and stuff like that. And so for that, I mean, Gun was amazing. He, like I said, he was a motivator in his own unique way, and I really respected that about him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was 4 years here. You wind up 6th all time in Chiefs history with regards to sacks. I didn't
even know that.
Yeah, I think Eric Hicks is ahead of you and played 5 more years here. So,
I do wish I could have stayed in one place my entire career and held all the records at the team levels as well. So, but I'll take it where the good Lord took me.
Well, we were there actually at the Chiefs Kingdom show in 2007. Carl Peterson says, basically, read my lips like George Bush. We will not trade Jared Allen. And a couple months later, the trade happens. You're franchised and you're traded to the Vikings. The Chiefs' price tag was really high on that. They wanted, I think, 2 firsts just to start talking. Just talk about the trade and kind of what it meant to you and getting a new opportunity in Minnesota. Obviously, your goal here was to win a championship here. It didn't happen, but you go to Minnesota and the career continues to skyrocket, of course.
Yeah. It was a very tough decision. We tried after my 3rd year to extend my contract in Kansas City. Obviously, got a little bit of trouble, and so I tried to do the right thing. I told Carl, I signed the tender after I signed my rookie contract, which was a 3-year deal. So I signed the tender. Was like, hey, let me get my crap together, prove to you guys, because that was on me, right? I screwed up, so I shouldn't get rewarded for it. So I told them, hey, let me prove to you guys that I can still, be your guy. But, and I told them that, if I do that and then you guys turn around and franchise me, I'm going to be pissed off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we, and honestly, from a financial point, thank goodness they didn't take the, they didn't take the offer that we made to them, because then Dwight Freeney comes out and breaks the bank. And I was just like, thank goodness. But, they would have got me significantly less. But it was it was just a weird time, and I had no intentions of leaving. And so I just felt like, I took it on the chin. I manned up. I did everything I had to do to prove to them that, and not just to myself, the community, my family, everybody, that I had my life on the right track. And then to get rewarded with, not what I was promised, that's what really irked me, And then, what really got me is we had a scheduled call with Carl and Danny Thune at the time to talk about my contract. Me and my agent wait on the phone for 20 minutes, and they get back on. They said, "Oh, Carl's on his way to the airport. He has to leave the country." And I'm like, "You guys scheduled this call." So right there, I told my agent, I was like, "I'm out. I'm out." I called Clark. I called Clark myself, and I told him, "Hey, here's the deal. I don't feel like this is the way I want to do business. It's not the way I want to represent. And so you guys should probably think about trading me." And, it was unfortunate the way it went down, because I do have a lot of respect for the organization. And, you're young. That was my first experience with the business side of it,
Yeah.
So, you do take it personal, because, you're still coming from the college ranks where you're a meat stick and you're playing, for team spirit and rivalries and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And, you're not even used to playing for a paycheck yet. And so it was just one of those deals where, again, I think, and then the Vikings stepped up and were able to make, obviously that deal happened, and that was an amazing, situation. So I've been blessed where I've been able to continue my career. Unfortunately, it was with 4 different teams, but all on my own terms. But like I said, it was a tough one of those tough decisions that went down, and obviously the Chiefs got a lot of great picks for it. But it would have been nice to be number 1 on the Chiefs all-time sack list for sure. But it's unfortunate. I mean, it's a great city. I view my career as obviously Kansas City, Minnesota, where I spent the bulk of it, and I got no complaints either way. I love both those communities. Both those franchises are storied. I was tickled to see KC win a Super Bowl finally. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do it, but you know what? To see that the community deserves that. I mean, that is such a football community. They deserve it.
Well, Jared, we recently actually got a chance to have Tamba Hali on the show, and he said he was sad to see you go when he got traded. He had so much more to learn from you. So what do you remember from your time with Tamba Hali?
Tamba was great, man. Tamba came in and, he pushed me too, obviously. He comes in and, obviously, Eric Hicks was a dear friend of mine. And so it sucks when you see a younger guy come in and start to take the dominant role over a vet that you learn so much from. But Tamba was unique, man. Tamba could go inside, outside, and that dude worked. And that's what I always respected. I respect people who work. And not to say that, I was young too, so it's not like I was teaching him so much, kind of teaching him the ropes a little bit, because he was coming from playing inside a lot at Penn State, 3 technique and outside, to a guy that just worked his butt off. And I really respected that about him. And, that dude would be out wrestling with Timmy Crumry 30 minutes before practices, dripping sweat, and you could find him in the booth. That's what I loved about him. He was just him. So I respect that a lot. And, I was really happy to see him, I think that move to outside linebacker was a huge deal for his career. You know what I mean? I think that fit his style more of being able to, he was so versatile and athletic and strong that, for me, I'm lengthy, right? I'm lengthy and rangy. So I need that leverage coming out of a 3-point to work on people. And, to see him have have a great career and be what the Chiefs needed him to be was great.
Well, you're going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. Of course, I know you've talked about it before, but 136 sacks, 12th all-time in sacks. I know that it's probably not in the forefront of your mind, especially during the craziness. We don't even know if there'll be football in 2020. So, but Hall of Fame, 2020, first ballot. I know that's not the most important thing to you, but the numbers are there and the resume's there, man. So we got to get you in.
Man,
Bottom line.
It would be an absolute blessing. I mean, even if I'm an asterisk in Peyton Manning's class, I'm cool with it. You know,
That could be worse.
I'm not unrealistic too. It's like, although it's like one of those things I should have retired a year before or played one more because you got Woodson, Manning, you got Megatron. I mean, who knows who the holdovers are going to be from the previous year.
Yeah.
So, I again, just to be in that conversation is amazing. It's the single highest, greatest individual honor you could ever have, right? I'd be a fool to say I wouldn't be. I'm not thinking about it, and wouldn't be honored. But the way I view my career is I've always played for the respect of those who played before me and the respect of those I played against. And I think I've accomplished that. I've been fortunate to become friends and talk to a lot of these, players from the past that I admire. Looking up, Jack Youngblood, he was able to introduce me at a D Lineman of the Year award one time, and we've exchanged emails. And for him to tell me I was playing it the right way, to have a relationship with Neil Smith like I did when I was in Kansas City, or be able to talk to Johnny Randall and some of the old guys, Joe Jackson from Kansas City, and all those greats up there, Alan Page and Jim Marshall, like, to be able to have those conversations with those guys, and then now that I'm done, to see guys I played against, we share war stories, and you talk about this, that, and the other, and to know the respect you had. That when I showed up, people knew that they were in for a hard day. Whether you beat me or I beat you, we're gonna get after it. So I think that that for me is how I wanted to play my career. So yeah, I mean the Hall of Fame is a cherry on top, right? I wasn't always my goal. I never set out to place. As I got higher in the rankings, obviously, I wanted 150 sacks. I blew my L5 out my last 2 years, so that was fun playing with that. So I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get to 100, 150, but if the writers and the voters think that I did enough to get in, man, it would be an absolute blessing that obviously I'd cherish my entire life. And it's something that I think, again, it's just to be in that conversation is already humbling, and to have played with so many that are in that in the hall now is super humbling. And so yeah, I think it's just one of those deals where God willing, it'll work out, and if and when it does, it'll be one of the happiest days, and it'll be one of those things where you look back and you just remember all the people that helped you get there.
And if Brett Favre hadn't laid down for Michael Strahan, you'd have another record.
Oh, you know what? Go back and watch the Green Bay game where Aaron muffs the ball, and then I'm on Newhouse. I push him into him, he drops the ball, he picks it back up, and I sack him. They give me the sack in the game, and on Wednesday they change it to a muff, which it becomes a team sack, and they took the sack away from me, and that was my 25th sack on the year.
Oh, now, that is brutal.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I still when I see Aaron now, we laugh about it. He's like, I still can't believe they took that from you. I'm like, I know. So, but then again, I can also say if I didn't slip and fall when I was one-on-one with the tight end in the Chicago game, I could have just had it there too.
Oh, such is life, man. Let's talk a little bit about curling, because someone bet you that you could not become an Olympian.
Yeah, the curling team right there.
And here we go, because I think Mark Bulger, Keith Bullock, Michael Roos, you guys have formed a curling team. And what kind of level of competition have you guys gone up against? And I know the Olympics are canceled this year, so we're gonna have to push this forward to maybe another year into the next Winter Olympics, and maybe we can get you guys in. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're in a holding pattern, right? But I mean, we played John Schuster, we played national champs, and believe it or not, last year, 2 years ago, I guess, I was an alternate on the silver medal national championship team, and I played like 8 ends in there. So I got work in, and I have a silver medalist at nationals in curling. Well, yeah, we have our team, and Jason Smith is our skip. He was a 2010 Olympian, and we've just been trying to get better and get some permanent ice. Mark's building a curling facility up here. We're trying to just do what we can. Obviously, right now everything is kind of stalled out, so we don't know the immediate plan for the future. But when we get back at it, we're gonna get back at it hard. And but yeah, we've played everybody. Curling tour is great. You sign up, you pay your entry fee, and you go curl against the Olympic gold medalists. It's awesome.
Well, Jared, I mean, go back to your time here with the Vikings. I mean, you played with Adrian Peterson, Brett Favre. We talked about Gunther Cunningham earlier. Your defensive coordinator there is Leslie Frazier. And what can you tell us about a guy who's now here in Kansas City? The running backs coach at the time with you and the Vikings was Eric Bieniemy.
EB was awesome. And that's another guy. You know what? He's another guy like Gunther,
who is just he is just on you, and in such a great way. Obviously, I mean, he wasn't on me because he wasn't my position coach, but he demanded excellence, and I respect that. And he's one of those coaches now that, you know, it's one of those. Why do you need to get credit for what you're supposed to be? You're getting paid to be great. I'm going to coach you on what you're doing wrong. But EB, man, I love that dude's passion for the game. What a solid dude. And, you know, it was great to see him have success there in Kansas City. And just, you know, just overall, he's awesome. I mean, that whole staff, like Childress, I still talk to Childress. Man, I love that whole staff I came into in Minnesota. I love him. You know, Leslie Frazier, so glad he's back. You know, D coordinator up in Buffalo with Sean McDermott, who was my D coordinator in Carolina, who's two amazing human beings. Leslie Frazier was such a huge impact on my life. Him and Herm both. So like I said, man, I've been so blessed to be surrounded by the types of people. And but EB, yeah, that dude is a character. I love him. He is intense, and he demands greatness, and I love people like that.
Obviously, you played with Brett Favre for 2 years, 2009 and 2010. What you guys get to the NFC Championship game in 2009, and you're right on the verge, man, and the Saints go on to win the Super Bowl. But that's, you know, that benchmark. You wind up playing in a Super Bowl though with Carolina. What was that like? Kind of getting close with Minnesota, the place that you spent the most time in, and then at the end of your career, you're there with the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton don't want to jump on the ball and cover it, so didn't win that game, but still, you know, getting to play one in the latter part of your career. I mean, what? Yeah,
it was cool, man. I played Super Bowl 50 in my hometown, Santa Clara area, in front of friends and family. It was great, but you know, there's nothing like when you're in your prime in Minnesota. That was the team, right? Like 2009. I still feel that 4th and 1. That was a fumble. There's no dang way he got that first down, but we can debate that all day long. And we go in. There's no doubt about it. We won the Super Bowl if we go in 2009. Me and Roman Harper, my teammate on the Super Bowl team in Carolina, we still laugh about it. But no, it's one of those deals where, you know, in 2009, I mean, you're in your prime, like, and you're the guy, and that's when you want to play in the Super Bowl. You know, in 2016 or 15, you know, I'm in the tail end of my career, knowing it's my last game. I got going into the game with a broken foot. You know, like I said, I was battling a rupture in my L5 the first week I got into Carolina, so played with that the whole time there. But it was just one of those things, man. But that was such a fun team. You know, when I left Minnesota, my last couple of years in Minnesota, just football wasn't fun. I mean, you're losing, you're just struggling, you're going through coaching changes. And so, you know, I just wanted to have fun. And, you know, obviously Foxy was great enough to let me out and trade me over to Carolina so I could finish my career with my hand in the dirt. And Rivera was amazing. Like, getting to that staff, that whole staff, Carolina was one of the funnest teams I've ever been on, man. They welcomed me with open arms. And it was great because, you know, the guys, like, we were able to just work and teach guys like Coney Ely and some of these younger guys, you know, how to do things. And you know, KK Short and Keywan, that dude was, you know, he was having a great year that year. And it really was a fun place to be, just because it was such a dynamic locker room with vets and young guys, and everybody got along. It was the way football was supposed to be played, and we had tremendous success. And you know, we got close, and but no cigar. And unfortunately, I didn't win the Super Bowl, and no one really cares about second place. So hey, but I got a second place ring, so that's good.
Well, Jared, we've talked about some of the good times, but then there's 2014 with the Bears. Jay Cutler, does he deserve the label that he gets as lazy and just football wasn't really important to him? I know that's talked about a lot.
Dude, 2014 was nuts, right? So I literally was retiring. I planned on retiring with the Vikings, and then, you know, come out, Bears giving me, it's literally the first time I took the money. Like, they gave me everything I wanted, and I couldn't say no. I had no plans, and you know, going there, and you know, with Trustman and stuff like that, everything seemed. I mean, it was like this smoke and mirrors. You got there, and all of a sudden you were like, what the heck? There was just no control. Like, the locker room was kind of just fraction, people doing whatever. It was just a weird deal, man. But no, I don't think Jay deserves to get that credit. I mean, just because he's not going to be the vocal, outspoken leader. That's what I always said about Jay. You know, when Jay was in Denver and he was vocal and outspoken, he got heat for that, right? So then he goes to Chicago and he gets heat for being quiet and this. You know, I think you look at what Jay, and if you put Jay in an offense, you know, you look at Romo, right? When Romo had the success, what was it, 2014?
Yeah.
They ran the rock. I mean, they ran the ball 35 times a game. Tony threw it 20. I think in play action, I think you give that, you put Cutler in a run heavy offense where he can play action and then make things happen down the field. You're going to see a dude he's going to be ultra successful because the guy obviously is a highly talented arm. But I just think, you throw the ball 60 times a game, and that's what's going to happen. So I don't think he deserves the stigma of lazy and not a hard worker, because I watched the guy work. I watched him get in people's faces. I watched him, demand things out of his, team. But at the same time, it's hard to explain the dynamic of that whole locker room organization. You know what I mean? It just wasn't what it was. So, but I mean, again, he had some success there, and that's one of the reasons why I went there, because they were the number 2 offense that previous year, like in 2013. And honestly, if Jay doesn't get hurt, they probably go a decent way into the playoffs. So it's one of those deals. I think he gets heat from both sides. But I mean, again, if you're a franchise quarterback making that kind of money, you're going to have the scrutiny on you. I just think, it was one of those danged if you do, danged if you don't scenarios. And hey, it is what it is.
Jared, before we let you go, and I know you touched on it a bit earlier, but as the man that helped bring the mullet back to Kansas City, well, let's face it, it never left. I can't give you all the credit for that. It was there
trying
before.
To get it back.
Well, yeah. Hey, you better than us, man. We're all about the same age here, and you're doing better than we are, both of us.
Yeah,
but you touched on it. The Chiefs win the first Super Bowl since in 50 years here. They win Super Bowl 54. Kind of what was your emotions to see that happen? Because I know that winning a championship was so important to you here. You spoke about that a lot, and just your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and what he's done, and watching him play, and kind of what it would be like trying to corral him as a defensive end.
Dude's a stud. I'd treat him like Michael Vick. I just shoot at him. I would just dive. If you're gonna, why try to make yourself look bad? At least just dive. You can be like, well, I kick the side. You get him. No, it was. I mean, my wife and I, we were very close to jumping on the plane and heading down to Miami and checking out the game, just because I thought it'd be cool. Although it was a late Super Bowl, so we didn't want to have the kids out till like midnight. But no, it was awesome. I was so excited again. I think the city deserves it. Mahomes, and I think what's impressive about him is his ability to adapt. Right? I mean, you look at some of the guys in this league that have had a great first year, and you give defensive coordinators enough time, they're going to figure you out. Right? You go to Robert Griffin, right? For example, RG3 comes out great. Kaepernick had some great years, and guys started figuring them out. Or you figure out ways to take their targets away from them, right? Force people to be one-dimensional. But with Patrick, I mean, the dude is just legit. I mean, he can beat you with his feet, he can beat you with his arm, and he's smart. And so I think that's that intangible that the only thing I'd say is the only success I saw people have is when you get a gap push. But I mean, the dude is talented, and you can tell he's a bright individual. He studies the game, he knows where to go with football. And I mean, to be able to come back the way he has and continue to impress to win a Super Bowl for that city, it really is a joy. It's a fun player to watch. And it's hard for me to say nice things about quarterbacks. So I have to.
Jared, we can't thank you enough, man, for jumping on and doing this with us. We can't thank you enough, man, for your great years here in Kansas City and in Minnesota and the rest of your career, brother. Thanks so much, man. Good luck with the rest of the way. And the next few years, let's get a Hall of Fame speech and a gold medal ready for the Olympics. Let's get both of those.
If we do that, I'll just lay down in the ocean until Jesus takes me home.
Dude, Jared, thanks so much, man. We'll catch up again soon.
It was an honor.